What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So, in this video, I'm going to review the NFC Championship game. I'm going to be honest, right off the bat, I'm pretty fucking heated. As a die-hard 49ers hater, I was really hoping the Lions could pull this game off. And for, 2.5 quarters, it really looked like they were going to pull it off. But they let in classic Detroit fashion, they let the game slip from their fingers. So I'm going to give you guys my thoughts. Obviously, there is a lot to dissect about this game. It was a very interesting game, to say the very least. But before I get into that, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you guys enjoy the videos. I'm going to be making a lot of videos during the Super Bowl week, so make sure to stay tuned if you don't want to miss. All right, let's talk about the game. So, the Lions came out of the gate to this game absolutely doing everything I thought they should do to win. They were running the ball. They were mixing in play action. They were getting, it felt like at one point, like 6 yards per carry. Every single carry. Six, 7, not going to say that again. But basically, they were just running the ball down the 49ers' throat. And their offense was clicking on every cylinder possible in the first half. Jared Goff made some good throws. Amon-Ra St. Brown was making plays. Jahmyr Gibbs proved his explosiveness, scored a touchdown. Monty was the workhorse. Everything was going perfect, period, right? They, got the interception on Brock Purdy. They were awesome. The first half was an A-plus chef's kiss, right? Then in the second half, it just changed. And they had one of the great collapses in conference championship game history. They were up by 17 points at half. And I thought it was an encouraging sign. And, this turned out to be a bad omen going forward. But I thought it was a very encouraging sign at the end of the first half with about, 15 seconds left. They decided to kick the field goal on 4th and goal to go up 17 going to half. Knowing Dan Campbell, I would have thought he would have went for that, but I'm glad they kicked the field goal. So I thought, well, maybe the rest of the game he's going to play it safe. They're going to get field goals when they get into the, red zone or a little bit before that. They're going to, play conservative the rest of this game, which is what I thought they should do. And that not only didn't happen, but they also shot themselves in the foot 40 fucking times, right? Obviously, the drops, they just forgot how to catch the football. Josh Reynolds had 2 huge drops. Jamison Williams almost had a big drop as well. He wasn't able to track that deep ball that could have been a touchdown that would have been so huge for Detroit. Obviously, I think the big play in this game was the Jahmyr Gibbs fumble. And I say this a lot, and when you watch as much football as I do, and I don't say that to be a pompous asshole, I'm saying when you watch enough football, you kind of develop a sixth sense. You kind of have a gut feeling of the way the rest of the game is going to go. And I guarantee you everybody on their couch who understands how football works and who has like that sixth sense, when Jahmyr Gibbs fumbled that football, we all thought, oh shit, the 49ers are going to win this fucking game. And I just had that sinking feeling in my chest. And I said, that's it. I truly believe that's what lost the line at the game right there, was that Jahmyr Gibbs fumble. The 49ers had gotten all that momentum. The Lions were going to get the ball back. They were going to shut them the fuck up, and they couldn't do it. So the 49ers got the ball back in prime field position, a play or two after they had just gone down the field and scored. It was dreadful. Now, I think the big topic of conversation in this game is Dan Campbell, and rightfully so, because his decisions to not kick field goals late in the game on 4th down arguably were the difference in this game. Now, obviously, when you lose by 3 points and you pass up 2 field goals, safe to say that the Lions could have done that. Now, do I believe if they would have kicked both field goals, been up by 3 in that last sequence, with the 49ers have maybe gotten the ball back and scored? Yeah, I do think that that's a real possibility. But again, you could have killed more clock. You could have done X amount of things right. They would have been in a much better position. And again, end of the first half, he kicked the field goal. I thought, okay, good. We're going to play a little conservative. To go for it twice on 4th down in a game like this, where you absolutely cannot leave points on the board, I thought was just foolish. Now, I'm going to step back and say I completely understand that Dan Campbell's philosophy his whole tenure with the Detroit Lions has been aggressiveness. They're going to go for it on 4th down. They're going to push the envelope. They're going to, they're going to be like a kid playing Madden. They're going to do everything. And at times, it has looked brilliant. And at times, it has looked like it did today, where it's, man, did he just blow the game? Did he just cause the Lions to miss out on points that they eventually lost by when the game was over? And here's what I'll say. I do commend Dan Campbell to a certain degree of being faithful to his philosophy, which again is aggressiveness, go for it on fourth down, trust your guys. I will commend him for that a little bit because at least he's not like a Brandon Staley that goes in and out and in and out. Analytics, no. Analytics, no. He is faithful to who he is, and he's going to ride that curve. The problem is that when you're in a situation like that, in a game like this, with a franchise like this that has not been to the NFC Championship game in 30 years and has never been to the Super Bowl, you are on the cusp of doing something that the Detroit Lions as a franchise have never done. When you're in this game against this team with this franchise, you can't be a bonehead. You can't make these knucklehead decisions. The risk reward is just too out of whack for me. There was a chance that first fourth down they went to, they had an opportunity to go up 17 again. You know, they had a chance to make it a 3-score game, and they didn't. Then the 49ers got the ball, they scored, they got the fumble, they scored, and boom, it's a 0-0 ball game. And the 49ers have all the momentum. They're at home. Their offense is rolling. And that game, you know, after that was just the Lions were going to win that game. So I just thought that decision was very aggressive, very what's the word? I guess it was irresponsible. It was irresponsible. Again, have your philosophy, that's fine, but there's a point in time where you have to remove yourself from the situation and say, hey, this is borderline insane. I should definitely probably kick my field goal. Now, the people that would argue, hey, Michael Bagley might have missed a field goal. You know, they weren't easy field goals per se, but again, you had 2 opportunities. I guarantee you Bagley probably hits at least one of those. Now you're tied at the end of the game. 49ers get the ball back with less than a minute, 2 timeouts. Now, the 49ers go down the field. They get in field goal range. They kick, which, by the way, their kicker's been having trouble too. 49ers get the ball back. Then you have a game-winning drive. They kick a field goal. They score a touchdown, whatever. You lose by that. That's fine because, again, that is the 49ers beating the Lions, not the Lions beating the Lions. Like, they really did beat themselves in this game with so many just, bad drops. I thought, a lot of the plays, I really didn't mind the play calling by Ben Johnson too much. And I'm not just saying that as a guy that wants him to go to Seattle. I really didn't think his play calling was too atrocious. I don't like the call on fourth down, but I don't mind the pass because the guy was open. The guy was open. Josh Reynolds, I understand it wasn't a perfect throw by Jared Goff. He should have caught that ball, right? The one to Amon-Ra St. Brown on the other fourth down, I didn't like the call as much. I don't really like those rollout plays because, again, if the defense plays it, you're kind of in what the fuck do I do mode. And Jared Goff isn't creative enough. He isn't a good enough playmaker to kind of get that play going if it's initially covered. So I didn't like the second play call, but the first fourth down I really had no issue with. I understand they were running the ball, but the 49ers were definitely geared up to stop the run on that play. The issue I do have with Ben Johnson, and I'm not sure if this was a Ben Johnson call or a Dan Campbell call because he has a tendency to just tell him to run the fucking ball, was that last 3rd and goal that they had where they ran the ball, they didn't get it, and they had to waste one of their timeouts. And truthfully, that was so huge because then if they don't get the onside kick, the 49ers, they're just going to win the game. They don't have enough stoppages of the clock to get the ball back. Whereas if they have 3 timeouts, they could timeout, get the ball back with, less than a minute, around a minute-ish, no timeouts. Not easy, but you give yourself a chance there, and they didn't get a chance because of that run. Now, again, they have David Montgomery. They've been running the ball well all game. I understand it, but I just think a play like that, you have to throw the ball. I think, maybe you run on the 4th and goal. If you didn't get it on 3rd and goal passing, maybe you're like, all right, our best shot to get in the end zone is run the ball. We're going to live and die by this on 4th and goal. That I would understand more, but on 3rd and goal, it's just such a bad call because, again, you're playing against the clock as well. At least if you don't get it on 4th and goal, who gives a fuck? You didn't get it, right? So I just thought the Lions just completely blew it. They had the 49ers, by the balls, and they were just unable to finish, unfortunately. It's just sad. And truthfully, they didn't even get, eviscerated by Christian McCaffrey. He didn't have he scored 2 touchdowns, which is great. But relative to his standards, didn't have a fantastic game. Brandon Ayuk, outside of a fucking boink off his head 50-yard bomb, wasn't a total game changer. Deebo Samuel, had a few first downs, but it really wasn't anything, outside of his ordinary. I thought the killer here was they were not able to get Brock Purdy on the ground. I mean, he was like a little fucking weasel, just weaseling his way around, picking up first downs, getting out of sacks, making creative, and that's one thing I will give Brock Purdy credit for. He is creative. He he adds that element of offense that Jimmy G never did, where, hey, shit breaks down. I have to scramble out. I have to look downfield, find Ayuk, find Kittle, whatever. He can do that, and he can, he's much better of a creator than Jimmy is. But let's go ahead and transition to the 49ers, because I am not gonna lie to you, I was seething, absolutely seething. I went over to my uncle's house, and on the whole 45-minute drive back to my house, I was just seething. I was, spitting fire. Part of the reason that I dislike the 49ers is because I think that they're just insanely lucky. Just insanely lucky. Brock Purdy in this game had 2 dropped interceptions. One was on the first drive. The second was on that doink off the guy's. How many corners in football are bad enough to be in position to catch the ball, have it doink off their helmet, and the receiver catches it? I mean, what kind of stupid shit is that? Like, that's shit that would only happen to Brock Purdy, right? And again, their defense were getting absolutely gashed by the run. Absolutely. I mean, Detroit, they were on pace at a certain point to have like 300 yards rushing. I mean, it was incredible. They were running the ball, like without breaking a sweat. And then they get lucky because Jahmyr Gibbs, runs the wrong way. He puts his hand the wrong way. And, running backs, you're supposed to, I believe you're supposed to have your outside hand up and you clamp like that. I think he did the opposite way. Or no, I'm mistaken. I'm sorry. Yeah, outside hand up. I'm correct. And he messed it up, and just from the handoff you could tell that it was bad exchange, and he ended up fumbling the football. Like, that's not anything the 49ers did. They didn't make Jahmyr Gibbs, have a bad miss the turn, right? So it's just stupid shit lucky like that. I will say props to the 49ers for keeping their composure. Obviously, you're down 17 at home in an NFC Championship game. Guys can get kind of tight, and it's clear to me that they really didn't. They were still able to execute their game plan, and this is a game where Brock Purdy kind of had to take over. He had to make some plays. And I still have a hard time saying that Brock Purdy is a really good quarterback. I just do. But what he is, and what I will give him, is that he does show up in the big moments. He is a guy that will make the play, will make the throw, will scramble around. And again, that's an element that Jimmy G never really had. But it's an element that Brock Purdy has. And I have to commend him for that. So, listen, the 49ers are going to their, second Super Bowl under Kyle Shanahan against the same opponent, ironically enough. We'll see how that goes. I'll do, more Super Bowl predictions later. I don't want to get into the 49ers right now. I'm so upset. But hope you guys enjoyed my little rant about the NFC Championship game. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Comment down below what you thought of the game as well. And maybe give me your Super Bowl prediction, because why the fuck not? So, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.